Hi, I'm Joe Moorhouse. I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about an aspect of organizational psychology called counterproductive work behaviors. And we'll look at and investigate and review some of the constraints that an organization could have, limitations, restrictions, and constraints that could lead to a propensity for counterproductive behaviors. So counterproductive workplace behavior is defined by Dr. Paul Spector from University of South Florida is simply something that harms or intends to harm an individual or the organization. So those counterproductive behaviors can be a wide-ranging things from absenteeism, which doesn't seem like it's harming too many people, right? If somebody doesn't show up for work, but there's a lack of production, a loss of production that the company is receiving from that. That can be something like just being uncivil behavior between coworkers or between an employee and a manager or a leader. That uncivility could turn into abusive behavior or even violence in some cases. I know workplace violence is a big topic of discussion and seems to be unfortunately increasing in this day and age, the examples of it. Other examples of counterproductive behavior could be sabotage or theft of the company's property, drug and alcohol use, all the way to sexual harassment. So just some of the examples of how those counterproductive behaviors could come into play in the workplace. When we're looking at that, the causes, there are a couple main categories of the causes of these behaviors. We have individual-based and situational-based. So for the next couple minutes, let's just focus on situational-based right now, because we want to focus on the corporate organizational constraints and how that impacts these behaviors. So in situational based, there's three main categories. So the first one is norms, like the cultural expectations, those standards of behavior in the workplace, that the rules and regulations, so to speak. And that's one of the biggest things I have seen is lack of clear expectation of what's expected, what's the cultural norm and the standard. Sometimes can contribute to people deviating in these sorts of ways. The other category can be stress, so reaction to emotions, people feeling anxious or stressed out have a tendency maybe to retaliate in some of these ways. And the third category within situational based is injustice. Sometimes there's a perceived bias or injustice in the workplace that can lead an employee to take some of these sorts of actions. So what are some of the possible organizational constraints, again, limitations and restrictions that feed into some of these counterproductive behaviors? And the first one is a big one, is autonomy. Human beings appreciate a sense of autonomy, being able to feel like and have a sense that they have some sort of control on what's happening in the workplace and for them. So when people feel like things are out of their control, they have a tendency maybe to lash out or to feel that sense of anxiety and stress. Another aspect could be lack of oversight, right? Theft could be tempting if there's lack of oversight. So that's a balance too. Too much oversight may come across as micromanagement, but sometimes in organizations when you have crews out remotely working on their own, and different aspects of the company or the organization could lead to an oversight that could influence the theft that many businesses experience. Could be lack of clear policy. Again, those standards and norms that aren't preventing these counterproductive behaviors from taking place. And that all falls into the category of communication, which we know is a big problem and is a difficult challenge everywhere. And with communication, right, the injustice that we mentioned before could be a situation where somebody lashes out because they didn't get promoted, where if there was communication, where if there's a clear expectation and they were explained why the other person got promoted instead of them, they wouldn't feel that sense of anxiety. But sometimes that communication is the key piece. So in summary, as we talked about counterproductive work behaviors, focus on the things the organization can control. And my recommendation to companies, organizations, and leaders, avoid blaming the employees right off the bat and self-reflect and think about first, what is the organization doing or not doing that contributes to some of these behaviors? Thank you.